UBC Radio Network, your national preferred choice. We broadcast all over Uganda and beyond. Join us on 98 FM in Kampala, 99.4 FM Lira, and 97.4 FM Arua. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
On the Farm on UBC Radio.
Good evening, farmer. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you all, our very loyal listeners. We thank you. We appreciate you. And once again, we are here to serve you. On the Agenda Forum program, we are here with yet another episode of this week's edition, and we are looking at how to improve agriculture on the farm. We are bringing in new innovations, technologies that can help you mint money from your agriculture ventures. In the previous episode, we were looking at lean production. And in lean production, we looked at our equation, which is money equivalent to space plus time plus skill. And this time round, we were focusing on the T, which is time, on how we can be able to reduce wasting time, or how we can be able to know what our productive time is on the farm. We looked at so many things like you listened, and we say that we need to aim at technology. Technology refers to the ability to do things in a short time without reducing or compromising quality of the final product. Yes, we looked at some of the tools we think can help us to achieve lean production on the farms, and the 5 that we looked at were the 5S tool. And the 5S tool, we say that refers to the sort or deleting. Then we looked at the second S as strengthening. This is organizing what has remained. Then shining, that is inspecting the work area. Then standards, how we can have or develop some SOPs. Some of you are used to SOPs being those of washing hands, but we say that even in agriculture, you have those SOPs, or maybe some of those routines, some of the things you do on your farm that have become part of it. You know how your animals respond to different people or environments. You know what to do on your farm. You know the best time to feed your animals. You know when they are more productive. So we said that is one of the 4s. And the last one was to sustain. After knowing that this is what works for my farm, you don't sit on it or ignore it. You put it down in writing and you keep practicing over and over again. Yes, we looked at the others being Gemba, to mention but a few. Gemba, this is being on the farm, doing the things yourself, being present. Then we looked at Andon, which is about the visual feedback systems. Then we looked at bottleneck analysis. This is identifying the limiting factors of production on your farm, what you think is stopping you from getting to another level. Then we have continuous flow, and the 5th is Gemba, like I've told you, which is your availability, your presence. Doctor, am I saying the right things?
You're a very good teacher. And
thank you so much.
Actually, if you were still under me, I would qualify you for first class degree.
Wow! So that shows you, Doctor, that we have widened our the imaginary distance, and I think now I am in P2.
P2.
Yes.
Lesson, we are going to P2 for you ahead.
I'm in P3. So I hope that all of you always take note of these things that we talk about in this program, so you can be able to use them and all through, because this is priceless knowledge that we share with you, and we are always grateful to hear that you're being inspired and you're doing much better. Yes, today, once again, I am with my wonderful guest and expert. Let him first say hello to you before we can get into what we have for you today.
Good evening, listeners. I'm Dr. Herbert Mukiibi from College of Veterinary Medicine, Makerere University. I'm back here on air to edify you, to strengthen that other part of you that we are talking about. God gave us a very elastic brain that can accommodate all information in the largest library in the world. It is found in the Washington, D.C. where all copies of published information are supposed to be deposited. So a human brain can accommodate all of them. That means it's very elastic. So we are now pumping you with more information. Today it's going to be a marathon to just take you through. Then our teacher Maureen will break down those things later when you feel like you want to really expound on one of them. So tonight I'm just going to rush through the remaining 20 because I am really anxious to dive into technology development. You know, it's very dangerous to train somebody about technology without deriving the technology from the first principles. So what we are doing right now, we are in P1, trying to take you through the first principles of technology. Tonight we are going to dive into P2, but Maureen is slightly ahead of us. She's in P3, but the listeners now, those who have been following, we have given you the ground information in P1, nursery. Now, today we want to dive into the technology development, but all what we are going to say is what to build that. We are taking you slow because we want you to be on board. We are taking you through the principles of developing a technology. World over, you cannot make big monies when you're still using the conventional time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And yes, I want to remind our listener that this is On the Farm program, your number one program on our number one station, National Broadcaster UBC. And we are also live on all our frequencies all over the country. We have 98.0 FM in Kampala and surrounding areas, 99.5 FM in Lira, and 97.4 FM in Arua. You don't have to have an excuse to miss because we have a lot for you. We have a lot of information. And I'm also eagerly waiting to hear from Doctor about the 20 more tools that he's going to take us through briefly.
Yes.
Doctor, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Maureen will be writing. I'm just going to rush through, just reading to you the 20 tools that we use to measure the time that is being wasted on farm. The first one is Heijuka, or you can say Heinjuka, Heijunka, and in brief in English you can call it level scheduling. Level scheduling, like you schedule at different levels. With this one, you are producing items in smaller amounts. You may be interested in producing too much, but then you are not aware of what the demand could be. So you produce what moves quickly. You may ignore the whole batch and you pick out what is likely to move. You produce only that one. And then we have the Oshin Can, or the Oshin Canly. In English, you can change it to policy development or policy deployment. In this way, you are working, you're producing, but in tandem with what your farm policy is. If your farm policy is about to only producing lean meat, the food you're going to give to those pigs is supposed to produce only lean meat, not fats. So you eliminate the other foods that may be part of the diet that are not geared towards the producing lean meat. The third one is Jidoka. Jidoka, Jidoka. In English, we are going to call it automation. Very wonderful tool. You automate stuff. Now, developed worlds have concentrated much on this one. They have suffered with laborers on farms. Guys don't want to work. Last time I brought workers on my farm, immediately I paid them the first month. They took off at night. They didn't even wait for me to wake up. They worked, they were waiting for their salary. When the 30 days ended and I paid, they just took off in the night because they saw we were really overworking them. They could work daily, they couldn't relax, so they are like, this one is a workaholic man. So they took off. Now, people are thinking in terms of automating their procedures. Automation is, you want things to be done automatically. Some people involve machinery. That's where you hear people talk of mechanization of agriculture. Where you are using a hoe to really dig, it will take you like 17 days to finish 1 acre to plant maize. But if you involve machines, you're going to take a few minutes. Now in automation, some people are mimicking what the natural process does. You look at somebody digging, for example, you raise the hoe, You hit it on the ground, it enters the soils, and then you pull to create a hole, for example. So I will make a machine that also has a cutting edge like a hoe. The machine should be able to have joints that fold it as a human, and then it hits the ground to cut it open, and then pulls. The same fashion. Now I'm just going to increase the speed of that hoe that has been put on the machine to really do the digging as if the human being is the one digging. Then the other one is just in time. It is another tool called just in time, or you can abbreviate it as JIT. Just in time, here you are going to pull parts through the production system based on customers' demand instead of what you are able to produce. So you ask the people at the window, what do people want? Then you only design your factory to produce that at a time, just in time. Not to waste time producing stuff that is going to remain on the shelf. You only produce what the customer demanding. Then another one is Kaizen, Kaizen. In English, you can change it as continuous improvement. In this one, the strategy here, the employees work together proactively to achieve regular incremental improvements in the process of producing. So you're just interested in improving every time you produce. You don't get stuck at one method of production. That is also very important in preventing time wastage. The other one, we call it the Kanban, Kanban. In English, we can call it the pull system, Pull. The pull system, yeah? Here the method is actually regulating the flow of goods, both inside the farm and with the outside suppliers or customers, based on automatic replenishment through maybe a signal, somebody is telling you this is what we need. So you keep replenishing depending on the flow of those goods that you are producing. Then we have the key performance indicators as another tool. The key performance indicators, these ones are designed to track and encourage progress towards the critical goal. Yeah? So the key performance indicators, you can look at something and know we are doing well. You can categorize and say, if we are doing dairy, if I see this amount of liters, then I know we are doing well. Because the number of liters that is coming out is one of the indicators you can rely on to know that you are really performing. Yes, and then you continue in that direction. The other one is called the MUDA. The MUDA, M-U-D-A, in brackets, or in English, you can call it the waste. MUDA, the waste. Yeah? Anything in the process of production that does not add value from the customer's perspective is what we are referring to as the MUDA or the waste. So you can talk to your customers and ask them as they engage you what actually does not add value to them. So you are interested in removing that. Then the other tool is overall equipment effectiveness. Overall equipment effectiveness. Here you want to measure productivity loss to see for a given production process what is the overall equipment effectiveness, and in this case you will consider either availability, performance, and the quality for you to be able to know the overall equipment effectiveness. And then if a machine is not performing in your system, you are going to really rate it down and you remove it. And then the other one, we are calling it PDCA, capital letters, PDCA. The P stands for plan, then D is do, the C is check, and the A is act. Plan, do, check, act. That's a tool, yeah, and it is a method for implementing improvements. Yeah, you plan, you establish a plan here, and the expected results are talked about. For doing, you implement the plan. To check, you are verifying expected results achieved. And to act, you review and assess. You do it again. So that is the tool that will help you to perfect the cycle, that this is what we do: plan, do, check, act. Okay? The other one is called the poker yoke. In English, it will be called the error proofing. Error proofing. Poker yoke, P-O-K-A, then yoke is Y-O-K-E. The English is the proof, the error proofing. That's very commonly done by all producers. You will just be looking for the error, and then you try to see whether it's the actual cause of the problem that you're seeing in your manufacturing or in your production system. Then the other one is the root cause analysis, which we are going to discuss at length at some stage, and it is self-explanatory. So the root cause analysis, you are seeing a problem somewhere in your system, but you want to see what causes it. So you keep touching everything to see whether it's the cause of what you're seeing outside. If the batches you're taking in the field are rotting so quickly, then you come back in your field and study what is causing the other rotting in the market. Is it because you are rushing too much? You don't take time at a certain stage, so you try to slow down and see whether the problem will be solved out there. Like there's a gentleman who took me to his factory. He's making a local brew, and then he was having his bottles swelling in the shops, busting. Then they would bring them back as damages. So I went to his factory. He took me through, and I asked him one question: how do you sterilize these bottles? Because I know the science behind fermentation. The guy told me they use a sun rays or whatever that radiation to sterilize. And then I asked him, when do you sterilize? Is it before packing or after packing? He told me, we do it before packing. Then I told him that could be the problem, because when you pack, after sterilizing, between sterilization and packing, the microbes may still come back into your soup, and then they continue fermenting the stuff as they go to the market. So we said, you better now sterilize what is already packed. You pack and then pass the bottles through the sterilizer, such that the rays strike those bacteria when they are inside the bottle, so you don't have any other stage of contamination. And when they did that, the process improved. So the other one, how many are those? The other one is single minute exchange of dye.
The one you've just talked about is
root cause.
Yeah, we are done with that.
Yeah, then we are talking about the single minute exchange of dye. Single minute exchange of dye. This dye that they play in the games.
Okay.
Yeah, single minute exchange of dye. Here you're just looking at the setup that you're using to produce. Now, if you are starting to run the process, you don't want to stop it for you to check whether there is a problem with your setup. The way you design your setup should be that if you want to check, it should be done outside the production process. For you to check whether there is a problem inside the factory, you do it from outside, not inside. You don't stop the running machines for you to check whether there is a problem in the setup. You have a mechanism of checking it from outside. You let the process continue. At the same time, you are checking to see whether the setup is correct or not. And you reduce that time to less than 10 minutes for checking it up to make sure everything is running well. And the other one, how many are those as you're counting? When you reach 20, we stop.
Okay.
Yeah, the other one is the 6 big losses. And that could be towards the last one. The 6 big losses. The first loss is the breakdowns. Then we have the setup adjustments. We have small stops, reduced speed, setup rejects, production rejects. So we are discussing the big 6 losses of a production system.
Pardon, Doctor?
The first loss is breakdowns. Second is setup or adjustments. The third is small stops. The fourth is reduced speed. The fifth is setup rejects. The sixth is production rejects.
Okay.
Yeah, very explanatory, self-explanatory. When you read those statements, you will know in your factory if you have breakdowns, what it can cost you. If you have setup adjustments, the machine is running and for you want to adjust, either you want to increase the speed or decrease it. Do you first stop the machines to increase the speed? Okay, so all those we are going to discuss them at length, and that will be now a live seminar. We're not going to do it in the studios. We shall come depending on your demands. You organize yourselves, we visit you, and we set up a factory within your community, and then we take you through how you set up all of those things. Then almost the second last, if not the third last, we have the SMART goals. Like the word SMART, S-M-A-R-T, SMART goals. With SMART goals, these are, each letter stands for a word. We have specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-specific goals. So we are talking about SMART goals, and in this way we are talking about specific goals, measurable goals, attainable goals, relevant goals, time-specific. In this way, you want to set up goals for your production system that are really specific. You're not meandering. What do you want to produce? It has to be specific for only that. And then they must be measurable. How much are they able to produce in terms of goal? And then are they attainable? You are not going
because
to
you might be setting standards which are unrealistic.
Unrealistic. So you need to be aware of those smart qualities of the goals you're setting. The other one is relevant, and then time specific. Then we have the standardized work as another tool. Standardized work. That one I'm not going to explain because we've talked about that. Then we have the takt time.
There?
Takt time, T-A-K-T, takt time. Takt time is the pace of production. Like you hear the word takt, takt, takt. So we want to look at the pace of production. That is to deal with the speed.
How much do you produce in a certain period?
Something like that. Takt time, I will not explain that. Maureen is going to take us through. Then there is the total productive maintenance. Yeah, the holistic approach to maintain, for maintenance that will focus on proactive and preventive maintenance to maximize the operational time of the equipment, and that will be very, very helpful. Then we have the visual stream mapping. Visual, or let's call it the value stream mapping. Call it value stream mapping. Yeah, this one is a tool we use visually to map the flow of production. You have to be looking at it and see how things are flowing. And then there is what we call the visual factory. Visual factory uses visual indicators, something that you can see with your own eyes. And these should be displays, or controls, the throughput in the plant. They should be seen. If the temperature is to be read, there should be a digit displaying that this is the temperature inside this machine. So they are visual indicators, and that should be our last tool. So when you go through all of those, then you will be closer to P4. I rest my case there.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You've surely taken us through at least the tools on top of the 5 that we had in the previous episode, and I'm sure our people have been taking notes and listening carefully. I've also been taking note because we said that in this venture of work, just write everything.
Exactly.
It will eventually make what sense. I hope that when you are listening to On the Farm, you have your book, you're taking note of a few things, and if you didn't understand something, I always share with you my number. And that is 075-4848-775. You send me an SMS and tell me where you're listening from and what exactly you want us to re-echo for you. So with that, we believe we'll be able to push our people further and to develop as a group, because remember, agriculture is the way to go. My name is Morina Katukunda, and the host for this program On the Farm, and I'm joined by Dr. Herbert Mukiibi, and we are looking at how we can be able to avoid wastage of time. If you're busy, what are you busy doing? If you have land, how are you utilizing it? We want to tell you that you can be able to do so much if you adopt new technologies. And in our next segment, we are going to look at some of the technologies you can adopt to avoid wasting time on the farm, to increase the productivity levels on your farm. Yes, we are going for a break. This is UBC Radio. It's On the Farm. Don't you touch the dial. We will be right back.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the Farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Oh my God, Mama John.
Yes, dear.
Wow, what a fat cow this is.
Mama, look at your banana plantation.
The cassava, the potatoes, the beans. This time you're going to have such a bumper harvest.
Oh yes, that is what it means to be a responsible farmer.
I can't believe this. All this on the farm?
On the farm.
Oh yes, On the Farm, the meeting point for all the farmers. Don't miss out on food prices, weather patterns, the experts' view, the weekly farm news roundup, and the farmer of the week. Every Saturday only on UBC Red. On the Farm.
Welcome back from that short break. I hope you enjoyed it. You're listening to your number one program on your number one favorite radio station, UBC. My name is Morina Katukunda. We are On the Farm program, and in today's episode we have looked at the 20 more tools that you can use to eliminate wastage of time or unproductive time on your farm, because we believe that people are very busy, you have limited time, so you need to find a way of utilizing that little time that you have to be able to benefit. And one of the ways we can eliminate wasting time or utilizing further our time and the little resources we have is by adopting new technologies. That's why at this point we want to replace the other T that is in our equation of M, which stands for money, is equivalent to S, which is skill, T, which is time, and another S, which is space.
Yep.
So we want to see how we can replace this T with technology, because technology is the art of being able to do more in a short time without compromising quality and quality of the output of the final product. So, Doctor, without wasting time, how do we bring in the issue of technology?
Wonderful. This is not our culture.
Yes.
So we are now into other people's culture now. So we now have to drop what we are used to if we are to go to this class where we are going. We are going to skip P3. Maureen will take charge of that class. So we are going to move you to P4 now until we arrive at P7. Now, this is not our culture. Our people take time. Our people take their time. They are not going to be rushed to do things. But here we are talking about increasing money. How do you make more money within a very short period of time? That's why we want now to talk about technologies. But we said it is very dangerous to teach your students technologies without allowing them to derive these technologies from zero. You just come and start teaching technology to people, this one, you're going to have them lost. Yes. Because the people you're teaching do not have a basis from where they pick these technologies. That's why we took you to nursery, P1, P2, we have been equipping you with these tools that you use to arrive. So if anything goes wrong, you know where to go to really set it up again. And this is what people don't tell us. You can go and benchmark. This is a language for our culture. They don't believe you can start something yourselves. Everything is for benchmarking. You run around, you board planes, you go and see a technology in Dubai, a technology in Texas, then you bring it to Uganda. You do not have the tools to develop the technology. It will die with you when you are flying back to Uganda. By the time you reach here, you're like, oh, what happened the other side? You can't even explain what you have seen. So tonight on the farm on UBC, you're getting the skills of how to develop your own technology locally with little funding. The moment you have A, B, C, D up to Z, then you can construct words, not so. But if you don't have that background, like my baby has been delayed at home due to COVID, so I took him to school when he's 4 years. So they told me, this one is mature, he can go to can go to baby to middle class. Now we skipped baby. Now this boy, I'm watching him, they are teaching him English, but they are just dumping words on him. Now I'm like, my God, will this boy really have the grasp the other elder brothers of his have got? Because for them by middle they were speaking English, very nice English. Now this one, I said, but he's very mature, you shouldn't put him with those babies. So the teachers were sympathetic, say, okay, let's move him to middle class. So I moved him there. Now I got to give him homework. I see the teachers written English there, that read and draw. I'm like, will this boy really know what this one this one means? Read, and he doesn't know where the words come from. They are just saying reader. So what we have resorted to now is to speak to him in English.
At home.
At home,
Yes.
So when we speak to him, he's speaking. So we speak, then we translate. But this boy does not know where these words come from. Now we are worried in future it may really haunt him somehow, somewhere. So we shall need to mix up things for him. We keep bringing the words still, A, B, C, D up to Z, as we are throwing the words to him. You never know, he will catch up. But it would be better to first take him through vowels, what have you, the pronunciation of those letters, then he picks. So the teachers who handle nursery school, they know this skill very well. You do not throw already constructed things to anybody. Derive. So tonight, in this program, this last segment, we want to now build up what we have been throwing around, and then we come up with something constructed. Then when you fail somewhere, you revisit the 25 tools to pick out something that you'll use to rectify a problem. If it is a setup, the word is setup, not so. That means somebody has real organized stuff in a certain design to be able to produce what you're saying. Now, the word is technology. Now, we want to see how we collapse time required for doing the same work. Now, as a farmer, you're going to look at all the things you're doing that bring you money. Let us say I am rearing a cow to give me milk. Let's look at this cow when it's still a calf. It is born. How long does it take to go on heat? 1 year and 2 months. Not so. Now, can we reduce that time to 3 months? The cow becomes pregnant. Is that possible? If that is not possible, nature cannot allow. Then we move to another stage. What do we do to expedite this process of growing? We can resort to changing the food to allow this animal to attain the weight so quickly that it requires to start cycling. Because in animal science, for us, we know that it's not about age for the animal to go on heat. It's about a certain weight. So if you feed the animal to attain that weight, at puberty it will be able to go on heat, and then you serve it. So then you concentrate on your food, how you feed it, and then the animal is going to attain the heat or the puberty early than usual. So we have started to develop or to cut out the wasted time. Now, we have been looking at so many things happening in our environment. There is something I want you to borrow in this lecture tonight. We call it eyes for detail. Maureen will expound on that later. Eyes for detail.
Yes, doctor.
I have been sending my sons. You tell him, you go and pick me that thing. He goes, he's around where the thing is, but cannot see it. You're like, something there, you describe it, but he can't. Then I send another one who is more sharper. For him, he goes, immediately he sees what I'm talking about. He says, Daddy, you are talking about this one. So I differentiate that this son of mine is not too sharp. The other one is what? Is sharp. So I can categorize them by looking at their eyes for detail capability. Now, many people do not have that skill of eyes for detail. They look at something, they leave it as they have seen it. Yes? I have been looking at a cow critically for some years, and I've discovered some things with it. Let me give you one example. I've been rearing cattle. I follow them as they are eating. Then when they pull the grass from the ground, and that grass comes with its roots, the roots with the soil on it, they don't eat that part that has soil. They drop it. I realize cows do not want to eat food that is soiled. Then I made that observation. That means I have eyes for detail. Now, the next time these cows have been pooping somewhere at a certain field, and then some nice grass would grow very well. And then these cows would not eat that grass where they have been pooping for some time. The grass is there, well grown, but they are not eating it. They just pass by. I make observation number 2, that when anything has the smell of their poo, they don't eat.
And they are right.
They are right. Then I wait. After some time, like a month, without them pooping there, you bring them back, they will eat. Then I want to know, how long does it take? I'm now being observant
for them to lose that smell.
To lose that smell, and they are able to eat. Then I realize that it takes like a month plus. I know, okay, that means there is something taking place on this poo to happen, or to allow these animals to do that. Now, one time I picked their poo and I smeared my banana plants on the leaves. Then I allowed the cows to move into my banana plantation. Okay?
Doctor, your level of
you understand? I'm trying to develop a technology of removing weeds from my banana plantation using my own cows.
Wow.
You get? From the observations I've made, I have come up with the technology of weeding a banana plantation using cows.
You smear the wastes on the
I
banana?
smeared the wastes of the cattle themselves on the leaves of bananas, all of them.
Then you leave them to eat
then
what
I
is
leave
down.
them to eat what is down. They walked through, they didn't touch any leaf. They ate all of the weeds that were in the banana plantation because I didn't want to spray them. I wanted the organic production, so the cows cleared everything. I'm like, wow, I've discovered a technology. You get
an SOP.
An SOP through having an eye for detail. Some people think technologies have to be imported. They have to be bought from China, from Kenya. It is the brains that we have at home. So I wish we had politicians who would have identified me. I would have developed a robot for Uganda. But they are looking on the wrong side. So
it's not too late.
Yeah, it may be not too late, but they are looking on the wrong side. I would not go to China to import a technology when I have brains at home. Invest in those brains that have that skill of eyes for detail. That is where technology comes from. You get a point? So now I have an organic way of weeding a banana plantation using cows. When the villagers saw the cows in the banana plantation, they're like, this man has run mad. Check the animals are in the banana plantation, because they know they are going to eat all the what? They were seeing the animals were not touching any plant. They did not know the trick. But it came from this skill of eyes for detail. So tonight, we're going to discuss only one skill of developing a technology. It is called eyes for detail. Now, listeners out there, I can allow you to discover this skill amongst yourselves. You can look in your palm. Just stretch your palm. Look inside your hand there. There are signs there inside your palm. There are letters. There are signatures. I don't know whether you are able to see them. In mine, I'm seeing a signature here. It is capital M with X in the middle. Then I have Y, which is inverted. I have actually two Y's. You understand? So many people don't know about what is written in their hands. They have been living with them since childhood, but if you ask them, they have never paid attention. What is in your hands? I am seeing capital M, letter Y inverted, another letter Y with a short hand inverted, and then I'm seeing some other signature somewhere, and then some people went ahead to zero down to the fingerprint. Yes, so they studied this fingerprint, and they discovered no human being ever since this globe happened has ever got a fingerprint that resembles. You know, they have never discovered anybody having another person's fingerprint. Meaning that everybody you see on earth have their own fingerprint. Unique. And they are using this to do a certain technology. You are aware of that. So it came from eyes for detail. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the word is eyes for detail, and it is a skill I can train you to attain. There are so many things you've not been seeing, and then you'll begin to see. So on the farm, we are looking at eyes for detail. Let me give Maureen a chance to supplement on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for this wonderful technique, because it is really important. For me, I think that these the living factory, the animals, communicate with us.
Seriously.
But you cannot understand the communication unless you are paying attention.
Exactly.
So this eyes for detail goes back to the other. It connects so well with the tool we talked about in our previous episode of Gemba on the site.
Seriously.
You need to be there.
Exactly.
To know. Because you cannot be able to apply the other 25 techniques without you paying attention to know what is working for you.
I think, Maureen, you just have to organize a tour. We reach out to these people because you're communicating perfect information. I don't know whether our listeners are really picking. We need you to feedback. Yes. And then we get to know whether you are following.
So you cannot know that something is changing unless you're paying attention.
Exactly.
So you need to know how your animals respond, the conditions they are in, and this saves you. It saves you from your animals falling ill without your attention, and it avoids less productivity.
People should pay school fees.
When you leave your animals to people who are not passionate,
people should pay school fees for that lecture.
Yes, because now, Doctor, like you said, some people are there to just make money and go. But you as a farm owner, as a farm manager who wants results, even you need to pay attention to see how these animals behave around your workers. They are workers who beat animals, and animals know them, and when they see them, they run away.
Seriously.
Do you know that animals can tell that this person is cruel?
They are very much
But you as a boss, you don't know. When you are around, this person is pretending, but the animal is communicating something.
Seriously.
So on the farm program tonight, we want to end by telling you that pay attention, have eyes for detail.
I rest my case. I cannot add on. Thank you.
Doctor, add something small and we call it a day.
Apart from our listeners, if you've not understood what we are talking about, please feed in. We want to hear from you. Maureen is giving you the numbers. And next time we come, we are going to be talking about the details now. Because we've said eyes for detail. Now we shall be talking about the detail. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. My name is Morina Katukunda. It has been a great program today, a great episode. And we are now into the technologies. We've said in this program that technology does not mean only those machines you bring from Japan, from all over the country, from all over the world. But technology can be that one thing you develop yourself.
Yep.
You identify. And how do you do this? When you pay attention. It's very important, Doctor. When you love something, you pay attention to it. You can't invest into a venture of agriculture when you are running away from it. Just sit and observe your animals and see. You will be shocked to learn so much. So that is what we bring to you. We want to alert you to pay attention, to have eyes to detail. Even when you see your animal weak or behaving a little bit weirdly, pay attention. You will get to know that there is something wrong. So that is it for today. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being part of this, for sharing with us this wonderful knowledge. To you, our listeners, you're very, very great. We thank you. And to the team we work with internally to have these programs produced perfectly, Mr. Herbert Chigundu, Mr. Frankie Gamasajege, and our station manager, Madam Smeta Allen. Thank you so much. You do a great job. And for today, we want to say this is all we have for you. Stay tuned for more programs. Keep it UBC. Don't you touch the dial. Until next time, bye.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.